All righty, guys. Welcome back to the Sleuth Intuition channel. I'm your host, Patrick Vallejos. We are broadcasting to the world live from Phoenix, Arizona. Okay, sorry about that. Having a little bit of technical issues here. This is our continued coverage of the Richard Allen trial. Richard Allen is accused of killing Abby and Libby in Delphi, February 13th of 2017. And it has boiled down to this day. Well, most likely today, I think they will have a verdict. Whether that's guilty, not guilty, or mistrial. But as of right now, they are still deliberating. What's going on? Strange exchange. Guilty, put himself there, same clothes, said was on the phone checking stock ticker. Why no phone data? Putting him there then. Because he left his phone at home and surprised that phone wasn't recovered. Okay. I think that's the first time I've ever heard that approach. So you're saying the phone was a lie. He didn't have a phone. Or he didn't have his phone. Maybe it was a burner phone. What's up, Jacqueline Jacobson? Tina Stair, Christy says he is guilty. All right, the poll is up. What will the verdict be? Guilty, not guilty, or mistrial? Right now, 75% of you say guilty, 7% say not guilty, 19% say mistrial. What's going on, Perry? Growing crazy. Jill Moser. She Warrior. Josh Moore says, have you seen the pro Richard Allen signs people made? Yeah, let's take a look at some of those. Very odd. Everybody's, entitled to their own opinion, but yes, this is very odd. All right. Give me a second here. I just need to share my screen with you. All right. Let's go to some videos here first. This was Donnie Burgess. Posted this to Twitter. That would have been last night or early this morning. Crazy setup. This next one is from Max Lewis. These are the folks making the pro Richard Allen signs. We love you, Rick Allen. I shall be released. Troll Patrol. We love you. So it went from due process to Hybristophilia. 0 to 100 real quick. All right, let's look at some of those photos. This one was taken by Barb McDonald. You can see these folks here making these signs. I don't know. That looks like Rick Snay there. Lawyer Lee, perhaps. And then it's the young bridge guy. JK. I think that's Noe. Kind of looks like Randy. Big guy. Thank you, Phony Pin. So now we just kind of sit and wait. Good to see you, TJ. Oh, we have two TJs. TJ and TJ Mac. Oh, shout out to the UK. Welcome in, TJ. It's kind of weird, right? I mean, each to their own, free speech. Good to see you, Shane Sensei. Those signs outside the courthouse are a disgrace. Not sure what's going on right here with the 4. They may have scratched this one out. So if you don't agree with them, it's not true justice, apparently. If you don't believe the way that they believe, it's not true justice, right? This is another one from Barb. I think all of those were from Barb McDonald. So they had some kind of seating arrangement here. You can kind of tell how they organized it on the ground there. But apparently it was the law of the jungle. It was like the movie Lord of the Flies. You had people jumping off the curb over here, trying to drop elbows. Welcome in, Tambi. Says, this could be it. Wanda from Missouri. Shout out to Missouri. So this is the literal waiting game. Proverbial. Camaro lover. Good morning from Alabama. Shout out to Alabama. The Bama. What's up, D? The deliberating is taking too long. Well, what do you guys think about them kind of leaving early last night? I kind of looked at it as if, hey, we're kind of tired right now. We're in no. If we have it, if it's up to us now, like if we're kind of steering this train, I say we go back and get some sleep. Like screw this courtroom, screw the case. Like if it's up to us right now, and the circumstances and the situation, whatever's best for us and our decision making, I say let's get the hell out of here. We'll reconvene in the morning and we'll sleep on it. Or they could have been like, well, we already know what we want to do. Let's go home and sleep on it. And then maybe they have a few holdouts. And they're kind of debating now with one or two holdouts. What's up, Joe Newman? Jody Lynn, good morning. She Warrior, good morning to you. Pitbull Mom. Timmy. Big Bird 420. You're praying for guilty. So you think they have more than enough evidence? What's up, Brett Decker? Josh Moore. Patty, hello. That's interesting. We talked about that a little bit yesterday. We were wondering if that's why Nick and the prosecutor charged him the way that they did in case to kind of give the jury some wiggle room, some breathing room. WRTV. Looks cold. These were some of Becky Patty's recent posts on Facebook. She says, "It's now in the hands of the jury. Please take a minute to say a little prayer that they have clarity." Thought that was nice. I think this morning she posted a photo. Looks like Libby. Look like she can just kind of light up any room, you know. Stop the railroading of Rick. Everyone's saying verdict today. This might take a while. So they've been deliberating for 2 hours now today? A little over 2 hours, 2 hours and 17 minutes. So they had an hour last night and then 2 hours today. So that's about 3 hours of deliberation. It's either going to be any minute now or they have a few holdouts. You know, some people that aren't sure, asking for, let me see this again. I need to take a look at this. Here, I have some questions on this, and that. What's up, Nas? I don't think anyone can be any more guilty without video, which they even pretty much have that. Yeah, that's a good point. It's just so blurry, but he matches the description of that video, whatever that means. That's up for debate, though. What's going on, Molly? Molly. Yeah, I think that is possible. You guys are bringing up some good points. This one is from Bob Segal. Maybe lawyerly. I keep wanting to call this guy the young bridge guy. Anytime I see like a younger looking person with curly hair, it's the young bridge guy. Dang, that dude has a massive camera. He's trying to look into the center of the earth. Resting goal face. I don't know. Like, what is this what is the message here? Like, fuck goal. So if he's not guilty, if they come back with a verdict of not guilty, does that mean that goal was in on it with Richard Allen? What's going on, Vegas? I think so. I think we're going to hear something pretty soon, actually. Good morning, CJK. Phony pin. Hope you're having a good day at work. Oh, cheers, Olivia, too. I got my coffee here, too. Office windows open. It's freaking cold as hell. My hands are freezing. No effects. So frustrating. The pro Richard Allen sign makers made one using Becky's "Today is the Day" to support Richard Allen. Yeah, it's like this is kind of like a human experiment. We were talking in the members only Discord earlier about how people in the true crime community are anything but normal, myself included, of course. So hopefully the jury is normal and they can just look at things, and take them for what they are. But then again, what is normal, right? We are not gullible. One of my favorites. Investigate the investigation. So if they find him guilty, I mean, what are these folks supposed to do? They just won't accept it, right? No way they were wrong. I mean, that's why they're here in the first place. They need validation. Those are the same people that vote for Kamala. Hey, Camaro said it. Here, I better put this warning up, Camaro, so people don't get triggered. But yes, you are correct. Oh, that's not nice, Joe. Don't sink to their level. Shame on you. These are from Frank Meister. I think he posted those in the Discord. Shame on you, Indiana. This is bullshit. So clever. CJK, rent free, right? Rent free. Cheryl Hawk. The poll numbers greatly fluctuate depending on which creator's channel you visit. Some are pro Ricky. Ruben, thank you so much for the super chat. Let's see what Ruben has to say. I get the defense YouTubers have an agenda, but they try to get everyone to think everything is one big conspiracy. Yeah, I agree. I think, like I said, this is a human experiment. People are gathering according to the way they see the world and the way they interpret things. Really, this is just an experiment. Question is, who are you? What's up, Red Sauce? What up? Lots of weirdos out, I see. Thank you for your continued support. I appreciate it. Steffa, what's up? Lady Rainstar, been a minute. Disappointed is an understatement. Oh, there were some signs about their channel? What the fuck? I didn't see those. Real justice, right? My version of justice is real justice. If they find him guilty, it's because you're being gullible with the capital Gull. Joe, yeah, I find it weird, but people are, they're free to express themselves the way they want to, but I see it as very strange and kind of telling. So they took up the whole edge here for their little arts and crafts, which is already kind of rude. Like you should have brought your own table. But I get it. It's probably impromptu. Stop the railroading of Rick. Kathy loves Rick. Stop the injustice. This is from Cody Fisher. We love you, Rick Allen. What the fuck? That's so weird.
Deliberations have resumed this morning.
Trial is now in the hands of the jury, and we're following the case every step of the way. Let's continue our team coverage.
Yeah, I guess we can go to this video. Hold on.
Deliberations have resumed this morning.
Trial is now in the hands of the jury, and we're following the case every step of the way. Let's continue our team coverage this morning. Fox 59's Angela.
Hold on. Let's go to a few. Looks like a super sticker from Peruvian. Thank you, Peruvian. Haven't seen you for a while. Good to see you, Tom. What's up, Tom? Today is the day in Doug's voice. Thank you, guys.
Joins us now live outside the Carroll County Courthouse with what we can expect. Ange?
Yes, thank you so much, Daniel. This morning, we've been giving you a little different flavor of what is happening out here. I want to bring in our next guest to you today, Anya Kane and Kevin Greenlee from the Murder Sheet podcast, talking a little bit more about how they've been following this case, but also...
Yep, Greenlee's wearing the bridge guy jacket. The real suspect. Look at that thing.
Murder Sheet podcast, talking a little bit more about how they've been following this case, but also, again, if you just take a look down out in front of the courthouse here, the amount of people who are here, local media, national media, YouTubers, podcasters, people that have been covering the story recently, then others have been covering it for the 7 years. Anya is a journalist. Kevin is an attorney also. Anya, I want to start with you to talk to us about first just kind of what it has been like just to be able to, as a journalist, to cover something that has been hard.
Anya kind of looks like, am I awake? She's like, am I doing an interview or am I sleeping right now?
Hard to get a seat and to get in.
Oh, yes. This has definitely had some public access issues, to put it mildly. I think there's been long lines. It's been cold out, but I've been very proud to see a lot of the Indianapolis press really kind of braving it out. You know, sometimes they have press passes, sometimes they don't, but they're in line and they're trying to get the story. So that's been nice. It's been chaotic at times, but I think generally people are pretty committed to seeing what's going on.
Yeah. Tell me from your standpoint as a journalist first.
Is that Frank Frank Meister, like in the background? He's like, oh, shit, what's going on over here?
Seeing what's going on.
Yeah, tell me from your standpoint as a journalist first, when it came to what you heard in the closing arguments.
I don't know. I could be wrong, but that looks like Frank Meister.
Starting with the prosecution first and then the defense, how do you think that they both wrap their cases up, and what do you think is going to be hard or easy for the jury?
Definitely. So McClelland really focused as a prosecutor on the day in question, the timeline, and then basically having Richard Allen, with his own words, put himself in each situation that would basically link him to being Bridge Guy, who McClelland is saying is responsible for the murder of the girls. So he's doing some sort of very intricate timeline. He's using pictures. He's showing these girls taking selfies before the murders. It's very heartbreaking and very sad. What Rosie was doing was more of listing out kind of the laundry list of issues that the defense has with the investigation and how this case was put together, and talking about here's what the prosecution doesn't want you to see, talking about Richard Allen's mental health issues in prison.
What's
They're
up,
focusing
anything?
on that. And then in the end, he actually took the rather dramatic step of comparing what Richard Allen has been through with the medieval rack. So it's very kind of bombastic, very over the top. McClelland then responds in rebuttal, basically focusing on the girls, calling them heroes, saying that they're the ones who may have helped solve this case by capturing Richard Allen on video and possibly basically like hiding the phone in Abby's case. So very heartbreaking, and just, you kind of see the two styles kind of coming out.
Yeah. Kevin, I wanted to talk to you now.
Real quick, this is a good question by Peruvian. What's your take on the Blackstone ratio? It's better to set 100 guilty persons free rather than incarcerate one innocent person. Agree? I do agree with that. Yep. That's kind of it's kind of how I do my judging on this. So I'm convinced at this point. And that's me doing the best I can to put my bias to the side. Put any biases aside.
As an attorney, to kind of give us that other side of it. It's interesting, listening to the podcast I was last night and hearing you both say kind of in totality, in your opinion, the prosecution laid out a case that was devastating. And then you hear from so many other people that say, I can't imagine that they can find Richard Allen guilty. There's no DNA. They believe that the ballistics are, bunk science.
Curious Charlie, shout out to Cape Town, South Africa. Telling you guys, we are broadcasting to the world here.
Or junk science. As an attorney, what do you feel right now? What do you think is key here and what they are deciding?
I think it is important to look at this in totality. There's not a single piece of dramatic evidence. There's not the DNA. There's not the cliched smoking gun. But when you look at everything, it adds up. It's like little pebbles adding up to the weight of a big boulder. There is a number of eyewitnesses who place him at the scene. Good to see you, Beth. And the person they say they saw was Bridge Guy. There is his gun. There is Candace himself saying he was there that day. And finally, there is the fact that he has told his wife and his mother and others time and time again that he is the one that committed this crime.
We really appreciate you both being out here today and kind of giving some.
Yeah, Greenlee actually laid it down pretty good. Here, let's run that back. Even though he is wearing the Bridge Guy coat.
Bunk science or junk science. As an attorney, what do you feel right now? What do you think is key here and what they are deciding?
I think it is important to look at this in totality. There's not a single piece of dramatic evidence. There's not the DNA. There's not the cliched smoking gun. But when you look at everything, it adds up. It's like little pebbles adding up to the weight of a big boulder. There is a number of eyewitnesses who place him at the scene. And the person they say they saw was Bridge Guy. There is his gun. There is him himself saying he was there that day. And finally, there is the fact that he has told his wife and his mother and others time and time again that he is the one that committed this crime.
We really appreciate you both being out here today and kind of giving.
So Greenlee, he kind of laid it down pretty clear. That was basically the prosecution's case. And it was clear and concise. Let's go to Tam B. Thank you so much for the super chat. Hell, I know I'm not normal. I called in sick from work so I wouldn't miss anything. So Tam B says, I'm far from normal. I'm playing hooky so I could be on the verdict watch. Because that's what we're doing. We followed this case for over 7 years. And it could boil down to today, and then it could turn into a huge mess.
It's another insight on just what it's been like covering the case, waiting. Any idea on how long that the wait will be today or going to the weekend? What's your thought? Any idea? It's a guess.
I'd love it if the verdict came down today. I think that would be great for the families. But at the end of the day, it's more important that it be the right verdict and be thoroughly considered.
Get it right. Your thoughts? Do you have a guess?
I'm kind of trending towards today at this point, but I guess let's see how I feel in the afternoon. I think this could be a long haul potentially if you have.
All right. So the murder sheet thinks it's going to be today as well. I feel like it should be today, after, maybe 4 hours. If it goes any further than that, I think you would have to assume there's some holdouts there. You might be looking at a mistrial. That's not going to be good. What's going on, badass? Predict Allen will pass out after the guilty verdict. Oh, that'd be crazy, dude. Like if he had like some kind of weird episode. I've seen people do that in the courtroom. You know, they seize up and they just kind of like, I don't know what you call that. Okay, so we have the poll running. The question is, what will the verdict be? 64% of you say guilty. I agree. That's what I selected. 17% say not guilty. 20% of you say a mistrial. So I'm guilty, leaning towards a mistrial. But me personally, I'm convinced. Danny B with the member flex. Look at that. Look at those biceps. Thanks for everything, Sleuth. Really praying for justice for these two angels. Thank you for that. Shout out to all you members. Welcome in Shadowbox. The song that says, I love you, Alan, makes my stomach turn. Is that an Elton John song? Mustang says, I'm thinking more Monday or Tuesday. What about Saturday? What's going on, Cheeks? Never seen such a conclave of minstrels in my entire life. Harsh words from the Cheeks. What's up, butterfly? From the bushes? Why are you hiding in the bushes? Or you mean the bush? Shout out to the bush. Welcome in, Sweets. Angela, if they wanted to railroad someone, they had plenty to choose from. I don't know. I think Richard Allen would have been a good person to railroad. Never know. But it almost appears as if somebody tried to cover up the fact that Richard Allen was involved. If you guys want me to put on the tinfoil hat, when it comes to the lost tip narrative, about the folder just pops up out of nowhere. Oh, look. The most important tip is just here, miraculously. So either somebody was holding on to it, hiding it, or fabricating it. You had Doolin, he was like, I don't even fucking remember that. Shit, we don't even know if it even happened. Then apparently Richard Allen had some kind of issue where he was threatening to hurt himself. Maybe that's where they found the bullet. They got his bullet during that interaction, and they swapped it with the crime scene bullet. Okay, tinfoil hat off. Yonder, what's going on? Wow, you think a verdict will be this quick? I mean, I don't know. I just feel like they may have already had their answer pretty early on. Now they're just trying to make sure they're making the right decision. I don't know if there's a time clock. I don't know how that works. I don't know if the judge after a week is like, well, what the hell is going on here? Miss Thang with the flex. That's a double flex. It's been a long time coming. Always excellent coverage. Thank you for that. Thank you for your support, Miss Thang. Continued. I doubt if a spit mask will be needed, but the pressure of being a sequestered juror would impact your current mental state. I agree. There's going to be some folks that are just itching to get home, you know? So you might have some holdouts, honestly. One or two. Yep. You could only hope, Steffa. But knowing people, you got 12 people. I mean, even the 1 out of 10 rule, you're going to have some people that are getting annoyed in there, who are being annoying at this point, getting on people's nerves, pressuring maybe the holdout. What's up, YouTube bad actors? Welcome in. Yeah, that's kind of interesting how people are like going after the judge. So if there's a not guilty, does that mean that goal was in on getting him off or what? I don't understand. How does that work? I feel like you could put anybody in as the judge and they're going to say something awful about them. Makes no sense to me, but that's just me. BD Hubbard. It's been a long road. Just praying for justice for Abby and Libby. Can't believe we're finally here at verdict time. Yeah, I mean, it really boils down to today or the next day or two. What's going on? Necessary evil. Delphi viewers are a special kind of broken. I'll agree to that. Crow says they didn't even prove that was Richard Allen on the bridge. How many other people have a Carhartt coat and blue jeans? Agree to disagree, right? RA is BG. Today is the day. I'm sure RS wrote them all with his special crayons. To immense pressure on a sequestered jury. A lot of sacrifice and mental anguish. I hope that people leave them be after this is over. I've heard past jurors talk about the toll it is. Much respect. Yeah, they might even be some that come forward and talk about the process. You know, they might be pro defense, like agreeing with them on some of the points. So I'm saying we kind of had two arguments during this trial. We had an argument about solitary confinement, which I agree is inhumane. You know, I believe that these people, they should be punished, you know, for being predators and things like that, killers and murderers or whatever. But most importantly, I think they just need to be removed from everyday society. You know, can we do that in a humane way? Welcome in Bridget Pelosi. I don't think the prosecution had enough to prove guilt. All right. Did you guys go participate in the poll right now? The question is, what will the verdict be? 61% of you say guilty. 20% of you say not guilty. 20% say mistrial. So, Bridget, did you participate in that poll? But you're right. They don't need to prove that he's innocent, just that he's not guilty. Summer Girl, too many POIs in the media over the last 7 years, in my opinion. No way will it be unanimous. He seems clearly guilty to me, but you know these jurors familiar with the case, are familiar with the case, whether they admit it or not. Yeah, that's like a whole nother argument there. We can only hope that they were honest. I believe they were. That's why I say, you know, most true crime followers are not normal people. Let's hope that they found a group of normal people. But then again, what does that even mean these days? What is normal? Is that even a thing? All right, you guys talk amongst yourselves. I'm going to go grab a bottled water. I'll be right back. All righty. Welcome in, Thin Mint. Jay, good to see you. I agree with that. Tom N with the super chat. The fact that it's taking this long can only make you think that there are jury members that aren't 100% on guilty. Either that or they're not sure, right? They're like, I'm kind of leaning towards guilty, but right now I'm not sure. So yeah, you could be right, Tom. I think the longer it goes, I think the longer that's what we're dealing with is something like that. But I have been listening to a lot of lawyers and their experiences with this, with deliberating, jury deliberation. And they say it's always different. Sometimes they have a quick decision and it's for a not guilty. So it's always different no matter what, from what I'm hearing. What's going on, James Cope? He said he was at the bridge and left maybe to go home and drink the rest of his beer. I think that's going to be the biggest part of this, Crow, is that we don't know anything about what Richard Allen was doing. And the reason we don't know is because it's not beneficial to Richard Allen's case. We have no clue what he was doing that day. Do you? The only version of what he did that day came from Richard Allen in part of his confession, right? I was supposed to go to lunch with my sister in Peru with my mother, all that, right? Didn't want to go. Blew him off. Instead, fell off the wagon and grabbed a six-pack. So the day that he falls off the wagon is, the same day that two girls are murdered, and he's at that park. We're talking about this guy who is suffering from all kind of mental health issues, personality disorders, with trauma in his past. You want to talk about amateur profiles, well, there you have it. I mean, who else are we looking for? That's who we're looking for right there. I agree with that. Welcome in, Elizabeth. Shout out to Scotland. All right, you made me do it. If you come from Ireland or Scotland, I always got to hit you with this.
He wasn't right in the hat.
Jay, shout out to Indiana. Yeah, and what's strange about that, Vegas, is even if they say, hey, look, he's guilty, the jury comes back with a verdict of guilty. In their mind, that's not real justice. It's only real justice if you agree with them. Now, if they find Richard Allen not guilty, I guess the way I look at it is they better keep up with this investigation. Because a lot of times there's, that's it. They're like, well, we tried. And there's not a whole lot of movement after that point when something like this happens. So it could be very bad for a case if we get a not guilty. Takes the steam out of the engine. Yeah, you had a YouTuber that posted them. That's why. It was the first time I've ever seen him. Sunshine, how you doing? It's disrespectful to put up signs making Allen a victim. The families are convinced he did it, and so am I. Me too. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of the murder sheet, but Greenlee kind of laid it down in the most simplistic way. Welcome in, Jennifer. I've said before, I will say it again, murder sheet are fart sniffers. It's pretty funny. How you doing, Sharon? Schizo? Kind of crazy putting a face to the voice. In the clouds, welcome in. My stomach is in knots over this trial. It does resemble Frank. I think we have a Frank sighting. Confirmed. Cheryl, welcome in. Ron Logan wore a fanny pack. Oh, hell no. Sharon says justice for Abby and Libby. Yeah, Sharon, but what kind of justice? Justice or real justice? Frank passed Snay on his live and gave him a death stare. Oh, Lord. What's going on, Anthony? How are you? Good to see you. Yeah, that'd be tough, Sunshine. I can't wait till this is over for them. Hopefully, today. Sometime today, sometime soon. There's a report here. It says the jurors can work on Saturday if they wish. So yeah, maybe this is more likely going to be finished up tomorrow. I'm feeling today, but yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be a bad thing if they took more time. I just don't know what it means. Red Sauce says, I know the murder sheet aren't very popular on YouTube, but I really like their reporting. Yeah, I mean, they're reporting and they're up, they keep us up to date. But they do like to partake in the drama. So it's that part of it that I don't like. But yeah, 100% on that. One more fall. Yes, that is Frank. He was caught on another stream by someone walking by and saying, "These fucking people." That's funny. These mofos. Julianne, welcome in. All right, let's check on the latest info here. Yeah, and if you guys have any breaking information, send it over to me. We'll probably hang out here for a little bit longer. They'll still bring little Ricky to court daily. He'll be waiting in a protective room while waiting, at least. That's the standard in Indiana. Welcome in, Jur. Good to see you. Karen, that's interesting. If he gets off, he has to reside somewhere in the USA. Let's hope it is a street or area surrounded by Richard Allen supporters. May they feel safe, comfortable, and at ease. Yeah, it's never the same. We've covered so many different cases on my channel. And we've bumped into a few scumbags that were released, let's say, after a 15-year sentence. And they're now a suspect or believed to be a serial killer or a suspect in a brutal murder that happened nearby. Like, they end up becoming a solid person of interest. People don't want them around. They find out, like, hey, you just moved in, and they make a big stink about it. Merle Haggard had a song called Branded Man. And that's what it is. There's no going back for Richard Allen, no matter what happens. Shane, I see there's no pleasing you. Sparky says, Scrub Report, 318 in chat, only 69 thumbs up. Yeah, make sure you guys hit that like button. Go share this video on your X feed, on your Facebook, or even on your YouTube channel. What's up, Bishop? Shout out to Wales, UK. Good to see you, Bishop. It's been a minute. Telling you, the sleuth crew were everywhere. Make me want to vomit. And around the guy is just way over the top. Yeah, apparently anytime he's like rocking in his chair, Baldwin would put his arm around and be like, hey, you need to stop doing that. You want to go to prison or what? What's up, Amy? Shout out to the UK. United Kingdom in the building. We don't want no scrubs. Oh, Elizabeth. Scotland. Shout out to Scotland. Let's hit her.
He wasn't right in the hat.
So many of my Scotland and Ireland folks. Turbo, what's up? Greenlee wearing a blue coat. The real suspect is right under their noses. You guys missed it. Nick Johns, welcome in. The Red Queen, what's going on? Sweets, I'm on shift pretending to do office work while waiting for a verdict. There you go. Hope you're having an okay day. Is there any recording equipment in court at all? I'm sure the court is recording everything. Is it being promised to anyone? No. Growing with Beans says not guilty. Did you participate in the poll, sir or ma'am? Poll question. What will the verdict be? 57% of you say guilty. 21% say not guilty. 22% say mistrial. That seems normal. Make sure you're voting on that poll, Growing. Just so we kind of get an idea of the temperature of the room here that we're dealing with. James says, I think it will be a long deliberation because I think there are some of the jurors will be strongly supporting Richard Allen, but I think equally there are several women on the jury that will be strong guilty. I feel like the defense was going for a jury that didn't favor the state. You know what I mean? Like, fuck the police. That's the crowd they were looking for. What's going on, Miss Thang? I heard it was a juror yelled, let him answer. I heard it didn't go down that way. Thank you, Pammy. Thank you for that generous super sticker. Slipsy. They had years to railroad before Allen ever came on the scene. Debbie, great coverage, sleuth. Debbie from Texas. Shout out to Texas. Thanks, Debbie. Yes, put your dipshit hat on for us. Oh, geez. Oh, Lord. How about that? Catch me outside. How about that?
Vincent, give me all you got! I swear, me and my brother.
Yeah, I could see that. Most of them had alibis, even Ron Logan. You know, they saw him at the fish store or whatever. Richard Allen, he really didn't have it. He doesn't have an alibi. He can't really explain where he was. So he might be easier to railroad. What's up, Brad? Good to see you. TC, what's up? People who think he didn't do this because he is 5'5" must not have heard about Julius Caesar or Adolf Hitler or the Napoleon complex. For England, Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland individually. Thanks, Bishop. All right, who did we miss? Yep. Any high-profile case, you kind of see that happen, Shane. I don't know what's going on with it. I don't know if it's just overwhelming hatred for the state mixed with a little bit of Hybristophilia or just needing to, I don't know, looking for verification. Will the jury have Sunday off? It looks like, from what I'm reading here, Red Queen, if they want to, they can go in and deliberate on Saturday. And I'm not seeing any updates. And if you guys have any, please forget the chat. Send me an email. But as of right now, I'm not seeing anything. Welcome in, Karen. Weber has a speech impediment. I don't think I'd be convinced. Brad Weber seemed proper dodgy to me. Yeah, and they could be receiving it the same way, Bishop. I mean, we really don't know, right? Not guilty, because I imagine that some jurors will be holdouts. So you're not really voting according to how you feel. You're voting to what you expect to be the outcome. Thanks, C. See, people are just different. We're all different. Seeing the world, the same world, and it's completely different through your eyes than it is through mine. Judy Brown, I have a feeling it will be a mistrial. All right, did you vote on the poll? So you can vote there. What will the verdict be? 56% say guilty, 22% say not guilty, 22% say mistrial. So there's like a tie between not guilty and mistrial. I find that very strange. But the 56% that have voted guilty, it was at 62% 30 minutes ago. So it is a changing. NBT, thank you so much. I never participate in chat, but I love your channel, so I'll express my feelings with cash. Damn. That's extremely generous of you, NBT. Thanks for being a fan of the channel. I appreciate that. That was very thoughtful of you. Bad Actor says, I can't imagine what more needs to happen for people to believe he's guilty. Not quite sure. I feel like I said, this is some kind of an experiment, to find out what kind of person we are. That's definitely what it's turning out to be. Who would benefit from trying to railroad Richard Allen? The defense never presented one legit possibility. Not to mention, Summer Girl, the amount of crimes it would take, right? So they would have to plant the bullet at the crime scene or in the evidence locker. So that right there is a felony. And anybody that knows about it, they'll all be fired, possibly sued. So where's the evidence of that? So in order for Richard Allen to be railroaded, for instance, the lost folder, the lost tip narrative, like those would all be would be crimes. If anybody was purposefully hiding that tip, let's say for right before an election or something like that. But I mean, these are just huge accusations that require a lot of proof or evidence at that. That they don't have. What we do have is a shit ton of evidence that points at this guy, Richard Allen. Fits the description. They're trying to tie him to the crime scene through forensic science. He put himself there. There's witnesses. Libby's video. Lack of an alibi. I mean, we don't even know what Richard Allen did that day. Nobody even touched on it. What did you do? You woke up and what happened, Richard Allen? We didn't get to hear that. Why? Because it tells a story of a guy who is suffering from mental health issues, falling off the wagon, being triggered by something that had to do with his family members. We've learned that he's very troubled. So the reason we don't hear about what Richard Allen was doing that day is because it tells the story of the bridge guy. The guy suffering from mental health, falls off the wagon, goes and bundles up, What does the bridge guy look like? He looks like a guy he bundled up. So that's why we don't know about what Richard Allen was doing that day, because it tells the story of the bridge guy. And even what led up to it, all his stressors, right? We learned from the doctors that he has like a codependent personality disorder or something like that. So if he's having a series of stressors before the murders and he's not able to latch on to, it sounds like Kathy Allen is his, who he's dependent on. What if that's what was happening before the murders? He's going through those same issues. I just feel like a lot of that testimony did not help Richard Allen. It helped to paint the picture of this bridge guy character. Good to see you, Silas C. Swinford. Tom Ann says the jury deliberation seems a bit much. Somebody on that panel or more than one is undecided. Okay, so let's see here. What time is it in Indiana right now? 12? So they've been deliberating for a total of 4 hours. That seems like a long time. Thank you, Sparky. Saska, I have everything crossed. Praying for a guilty verdict. There is no doubt in my mind, having heard everything now. They laid out in detail the timeline for Richard Allen and witnesses with every step, location, 12 to 4 p.m., using data from phones, Fitbit, and security video. And we still don't know what was Richard Allen's alibi. So I think it's going to be a lot of the lack of items that the jury has to kind of mull over. They got to be asking, like, why didn't we see an alibi for Richard Allen? Why don't we know anything about what he was doing that morning? If he's not over here killing Abby and Libby, what is he doing? Are we supposed to believe he's just walking around the trail? Well, nobody saw Richard Allen, so it can't be that, right? Well, we got to change his timeline to leaving at 1:30. Okay, that's good. That's fine. I'll accept that. Where did he go? There has been no answer to that. Badass says, I mean, Weber committed no crime. He was just checking out his parents' property, house sitting. Yeah, they were out of town. He was coming back from Arizona while they were in Arizona. So I don't know. Maybe he helped drop them off. Welcome in, Chris Worthington. Yeah, and at this point, if a verdict comes in, I'm going to almost likely be missing it. What is this? Final instructions of the court. This was posted by Rosie Palfy on X. All right, let's go through this. Final instructions. Wait, I'm going to have to zoom this up. Can't really see it. It is the duty of the court to instruct you in writing at this time concerning the matters of law which are necessary for your information in giving your verdicts. Since this is a criminal case, the Constitution of the state of Indiana makes you the judges of both the law and the facts. Though this means that you are to determine the law for yourself, it does not mean that you have the right to make, repeal, or disregard, or ignore the law as it exists. The instructions of the court are the best source as to the law applicable to this case. In deciding this case, you must determine the facts from the consideration of all evidence and the law from the instruction and find your verdict accordingly. All of the law of this case has not been embodied in any one instruction. Therefore, in construing any single instruction, you should consider it with all other instructions given. Court instruction number 1. This is a criminal case brought by the state of Indiana against Richard M. Allen. The case we commenced when informations were filed changing the defendant with the court one, charging the defendant with count 1 felony murder. Felony murder. I don't know. These are weird. It kind of shows the counts here. Count 1. Allen did kill another human being while committing or attempting to commit kidnapping. Count 2. On or about February 13th, Richard M. Allen did kill another human being while committing or attempting to commit kidnapping. Count 3. Richard M. Allen did knowingly or intentionally kill another human being. Abby Williams being contrary to the form of statute in such case made and provided. Count 4. Allen did knowingly or intentionally kill another human being, being contrary to the form. Human being, Libby German, being contrary to the form of the statute in such case made and provided. All right, court instruction number 2. The crime of murder is defined by law as follows. A person who kills another human being while committing or attempting to commit kidnapping commits felony murder, a felony. Before you may convict the defendant, the state must have proved each of the following beyond a reasonable doubt. Number 1, the defendant Richard M. Allen killed Abby Williams while committing or attempting to commit kidnapping. And I think we're missing, that's all they have here, but I'm sure there's another one very similar to this. But instead of them saying Abby, it probably says Libby. Welcome in Tonka Thomas. If he is acquitted, where do they go from here? That is a good question. That would be like pure chaos. That's like a worst case scenario. I mean, I figured they would have to continue finding evidence. If they find anything new, they could retry him. Yeah, that's definitely worst case scenario and a good question. I don't have the answer to that. Maybe Summer Girl. If he confessed and his family already knew, maybe they just knew like it was caused by alcohol. Like anytime you mix alcohol with your drugs, look, something bad happens. If we can just prevent you from drinking and, along with your medication or whatever, this will never happen again. It's like treating him like a werewolf. As long as we can lock you up during the full moon, we won't have anything to worry about. Yeah, that's true. See, Nas says, let's say he led them to their death at the hands of others. Should he be not guilty? And we've kind of talked about that a little bit yesterday and earlier on in the stream. They can charge him, I think, differently. They can charge him maybe with kidnapping that led to murder. I even believe they can charge him with murder, but not as listed. I don't know, Tonka. It would take somebody to come forward. That was huge, Ruben. Ruben says the doctor at the end that said Richard Allen asked if he could apologize to his victims when he wasn't on any meds and not showing signs of psychosis or depression and was in an okay mindset, guilty. That was huge. Yeah, I guarantee that resonated with the jury. Because all of it could be true, right? He can be a guilty man. He could be suffering from psychosis, making false confessions, and then also making legitimate confessions. All of those things can be true. What's up, caricature? You got it. Welcome to the waiting game. And remember, if the jury is unable to reach a unanimous verdict, the trial could end in a mistrial. So that's why in the poll question, what will the verdict be? Guilty, not guilty, or mistrial? Make sure you guys are voting on that. Welcome in, Darlene. Haldol. Yeah, I heard that stuff's pretty strong. All right, let's zip down here a little bit. I'm losing track of the chat here. What do you think the name of the movie will be called? Because it's all been a money grab, even for YouTube people. There's definitely going to be a movie. Guarantee it. There's already a dozen books. I mean, it would make a pretty scary movie. The Bridge Guy. Yeah, that kind of gives me a little bit of those 1 hour photo vibes. That movie was pretty scary. Shay was kicked out just standing out. What? Shay or Snay? Hey, what's up, Lorraine Perez? She's thinking guilty as well. Sunshine says Gray Hughes donated to the Abbey in Libby Park. Yeah, he has a hand like a bunch of bricks out there. What's up, War Kittens? But greedy, needing 2 seats when they're live, I assume sleep in the same bed. Are you talking about the murder sheet? What's up, Tracy? He's like he's like an agitator kind of. Hey, kitty cat. Monty, what's up? Welcome in. Anyone note the defense delayed trial because they needed 2 weeks to present evidence? They took 5.5 days to do it at trial. Yeah, that's a good point. I'm sure they're going to bring it up at the appeal. Like, oh, well, we weren't able to present the case that we wanted to. Sunshine. Oh, looks like there's some chat drama. Remember, guys, don't be a distraction in the chat. Oh, yeah, I heard it was all crazy there yesterday, Darlene. But I wasn't there, so I didn't see, I can't tell you what happened. Anthony says, was wondering when Tonka was going to get booted. He was getting worked up. Yeah, I can't keep track of all of that. Sunshine says, if there's a hung jury, does Alan stay in jail? No, I think they got to let him go, right? That's a good question. Does anybody know the answer to that? Okay, let's say it's a mistrial, hung jury, whatever. What happens with Richard Allen? They got to let him go, right? I just don't have the answer to that, Sunshine. Good question. It's a great question. And you guys, I'm looking at all my online sources. I'm not seeing any updates. So they are still deliberating. We'll hang out here for a little while longer. And if for whatever reason we leave this live stream and then we get a verdict, 20, 30 minutes, 3 hours later, we'll still go live for it. Karen says, we watched an interview by Becky and Mike about Abby and Libby, and nothing is about money to them concerning this. It's 100% destroyed and ruined their lives and them as people from them on. Yeah, I agree with that. Todd, jury instructions require accepting testimony as truth. This means they cannot simply decide the 4 witnesses who say they saw BG, RA didn't actually see the bridge guy. Yeah, and I mean, you can tell people to do what they're supposed to do, but, the jury's still going to do whatever they want to do, whether they tell the rest of the group or not. But yeah, they're supposed to, Todd. Elizabeth, wow. Tonka says, no, if you go look money they have made off of this. What are you getting at? Don't beat around the bush, buddy. Maureen, this waiting is nerve-wracking. It kind of is. I'm, managing to stay calm because I want them to do a good job. I want them to come back with the right verdict. I'm not the say-all, end-all. I can only imagine how hard it is for the families. Bad actors. The dependent person, any disorder makes it even more important that he confess to his wife. And hey, that's a good point too. If that's his, the person he's dependent on, remember the doctor said that he wouldn't be dependent on others. So they were trying to say like, okay, if he wasn't able to latch on to his wife, Kathy, does that mean he was latching on to, let's say, Dr. Walla? And the experts say no. Like he latched on to Kathy, that's it. Whenever he breaks that bond, he can go into psychosis. So the one person that he has apparently latched onto because of his personality disorder, according to these doctors, is Kathy, and he's confessing to her. That is a good point. Defense cannot disprove the cartridge was his. He has no alibi. I think that's the biggest, no alibi. With witnesses on his new bullcrap timeline, plus how could he see a van on the private drive unless psychic were being there? No reasonable doubt. I agree. What's up, Scott? Good to see you. Welcome in. Kitty Cat says Murder Sheet is the best podcast in my opinion. They have exposed the internet cranks and unethical lawyers trying to taint the jury pool. No worries. I can barely spell. So I probably wouldn't even notice. Sunshine, the jury does not have to believe everyone's testimony. That's silly. Yep. And they won't, They're going to make up their own mind. just like anybody else. Charges remain. He has no bail, 20 million bail. Welcome in Melissa Becks. Justice will still need to be sought after no matter what the verdict. I am just so disgusted by the way law enforcement handled so much of this case. Yep, I think we all are. I think that's something that we can all agree on. But hindsight is 20/20. But it does bother me looking back and hearing things like certain things from Doug Carter, like, hey, be patient with us. We've never stood before anything like this. Well, it's at that point you need to be reaching out and getting help wherever you can. Yeah, I feel like they fucked this investigation up. That's why it was important that they didn't do anything as far as violate Richard Allen's rights, you know. So as long as they didn't screw that part up and they had enough evidence, I think they can get the conviction, rightfully so. You know, they don't. For one, I don't believe that those investigators would put an innocent man in that position. I know that some cops and investigative teams have. I'm not saying that it doesn't happen. I just haven't seen any evidence to suggest that these guys are just trying to, you know, put anybody through this gauntlet. They don't care if it's Richard Allen, whoever fits the best. You know, you have to get me to believe that first, that these investigators who have worked, whether they screwed up or not, because I'm not pro law enforcement, you know, I'm not pro prosecution. They messed up a lot on this case. They overlooked a lot. They made people wait who were pivotal in the case, who had real evidence. They made them wait on investigations. They lost interviews. Like, in no way was this a good investigation. But for me to believe that they don't believe they have the right guy will take a lot more than what we've seen. So I believe that the investigative team believes that they have the right guy. I just happen to agree with them. "100% Sunshine. Very invested. We've been covering this case for 7 years. A lot of people come to my channel because of what we've established here, right? Thank you, Poppy, for the super sticker. Appreciate you. Can you do Pirates of the Caribbean clip? I'm from Tampa. I don't have one loaded up, sorry. Shout out to Tampa, though. Hot and Cold Crime, welcome in. We love Frank. Snay was threatening me the other day on Facebook, and Frank said he'd set him straight. Good. Delphi Dummies is in the building. Did you guys see Mata and Jinx get into it about 15 minutes ago? No. What happened? It's getting hot and heavy, apparently. Yeah, Jinx is a firecracker. I still think Kathy knew it was him on the bridge. I think that it's possible. Tom N says there has to be one person at least in that jury that is undecided. At least. I mean, it's been over 4 hours. That's enough time for you to say, okay, we're all in agreement, right? Not guilty, guilty. Yeah, somebody is holding out. Either they're debating or they're waiting for something. You know, I want to see this video, or I want to read, I want to hear about this piece of information that was presented. I would like to know more about this. So yeah, they could be waiting on pieces of information, but I agree. At this point, we got to believe somebody's undecided. Greenlee didn't admit to being on the bridge. Yeah, but it's because he planted the bullet. Don't you know anything about the Delphi case? Don't you know that Greenlee is the real killer? He is hiding in plain sight. Exactly. See, you get it. Thank you, Jessica. All right, guys, talk amongst yourselves. I'm going to hang out as long as we can here, but I'm going to go ahead and refill my coffee. So just hang tight. All righty. Thanks, guys. YouTube says bad actor says guilty or mistrial. Definitely not a not guilty, right? They're already saying that, YouTube. They're already saying it. They are the same people. Good to see you, Melissa. Yeah, he wasn't big. Nana Louise, good afternoon. Everyone is going crazy over waiting verdict. Yeah, they're going nuts. Good to see you, Squeaky Will. As Libby and Abby lay in their cold coffin 6 feet under the ground this morning, did Richard Allen sleep well and have a couple of nice thick blankets to keep him warm? Wouldn't want him to suffer. Well, isn't he the victim? You know, they mistreated him, so they got to let him go. You know, anybody would confess under those conditions. Don't you know anything about solitary confinement? Let's put you in there for 13 months. Well, at least that's what the defense. That's their narrative, right? Karen, yeah, he does. It's why those are counting on him outbring BG and saying guys down the hill. What's up, Shadow Wolf? Says I don't see enough evidence. All right, are you guys participating in the poll? Not guilty is starting to grow here. The poll question is, what will the verdict be? 50% of you say guilty. That's where I'm at. 30% of you say not guilty. 20% of you are at mistrial. What's up, Myron? There you go, Shane. Yep, just follow the rules. Call them the rules of longevity. What do the stats say on how long the jury is out? I was looking on that and I'm getting mixed reviews. All the lawyers that I've listened to and who were kind enough to kind of explain the process, they say it's hit or miss every time. Sometimes you get a quick turnout or a quick verdict, and it's for a not guilty. Sometimes you get a long deliberation, and it's a not guilty or a guilty. So I don't know what the stats are, but the information that I gathered that it's hit or miss. Really no way to determine either way. Nope, they didn't bring in Chadwell, and they did not bring in Keegan Kline, but they were both. Chadwell wasn't approved, but there was another guy. What was his name? Jesse James. Mandy Duckworth, welcome in. Mandy says she thinks he's innocent and has suffered a loss. Sorry to hear that, Mandy. But I'm sure each case is different. It's going to have different evidence, different circumstances. This is like watching MSNBC on election night. The suspense. Just remain calm. Shadow Wolf says, I believe the bullet evidence is very weak. I disagree with that. If you want to know which evidence was strong, just look at what the defense spent most time attacking. That was the confessions and the bullet. Welcome in, Pete Dawson. Nobody wants to talk about that. They just making the money. Keep that quiet. Who is making the money? Had about enough of your non-relevant questions have been answered. Move on or leave, please. Yep, the rules are simple. Don't become a distraction in the chat. All opinions are welcome as long as you can agree to disagree. No trigger trolls. Pretty simple. So sorry for your loss, Mandy, says Elizabeth Jones. And she's referring to Mandy's comment. Thanks for sharing that with us too, Mandy. Olivia Nicole Seals. What's up, Baywatcher? Summer Girl, they are not allowed to. What's going on, Anna? I think investigators believe they have the right guy. If he was arrested and charged, lots of evidence would appear. But it did not. If anything, in my opinion, they charged prematurely before more evidence came. Yeah, I mean, it would be hard to kind of sit around knowing that the bullet information was public and that the killer would want to kind of destroy that evidence. Once the killer knew that they had that bullet, first thing he's going to do is get rid of that weapon, because he's probably has been kind of going over that in his mind, like, should I get rid of it? Should I not? No, I'm smarter than they are. You know, they don't have anything. I didn't fire the bullet, so they can't trace it. You know, he was able to convince himself not to. Maybe it became a trophy in a way. What's up? None of your business. Mandy says, I must disagree. You're welcome to. K9 says they are at lunch. All right, guys. So this will probably do it for us then. Like I said, the second that we have a verdict in this case, we're going live. Mandy says innocent. All right, you guys. This will be the 5-minute warning. So if you want to participate in the poll question is, what will the verdict be? 50% of you say guilty. The other 50% say not guilty or mistrial. Let's go to a super chat by Miss Dog Lover. It worries me so much that such a dangerous individual, in my opinion, could be set free to do whatever in the future. Justice for Abby and Libby and their families. And that's my point. I don't feel like they're going to let him out. You know, I know nobody wants to put an innocent man behind bars, but that doesn't mean that you go and ignore all of the facts, right, that are telling you that he's not an innocent person. You know, you don't let your fear overwhelm the facts. Don't let fear overwhelm the facts. Like, yeah, that would be a tragedy. And in no way would it benefit Abby and Libby if they put an innocent man behind bars. But that's not what's happening. You know, it appears that he is a guilty person. I think the jury will see that clearly. But like Tom said earlier, I think we have a few holdouts. Maybe one or two even. Straight 643. I think there's no way Kathy, being married to him for so many years, could see that BG pic and voice and not know whether it's him. Yeah, that's a hard one. You know, you can't really touch that without just flat out accusing her. So if we're ever going to know the truth to that, she's going to have to let that one out. But I agree with you. 2 times felony murder, 0 murder. What do you mean by that? Are you talking about the way that he's going to be charged, or the charges that'll stick? Sorry. Yeah, when will we ever have an answer to that, Darlene? And the whole KK part of this. You guys can piss off the mods if you want to. Good luck. Good luck. Caddy Wampus, what's up? Not one person came forward and said that Richard Allen told them he was at the bridge that day. Every other person there the day publicly talked about being there except Richard Allen. There were a couple that a lot of you guys didn't know about. The sleuthing community, we kind of had a list of folks. It wasn't a big list, but yeah, there was a list of men that were on the trails and people that hadn't been named publicly. But I think since then they all have. For instance, we had 2 separate dog walkers. Teresa Liebert was another. I think you guys all pretty much knew about Brad Weber, but not everybody did. The Subaru crew. That's what I call them. Mandy, nope, no updates. I'll check again. If you guys have anything, let me know like right away. Sorry, I'm just reading some stuff here. Yeah, no updates. Stephanie says, telling a confessed murderer you love them is the definition of hybristophilia. No, Mandy, you didn't get blocked. But usually people that say that, that's usually something they say before they do something that gets them blocked. So I hope not. I am being nice. Yeah, that's fine. All opinions are welcome here, Mandy. Just don't become a distraction. Have the ability to agree to disagree and no trigger trolling. 3 simple rules. Oh, and don't talk shit about victims' families. Judy, maybe when this is over, they can go back and work on Flora. Yeah, we definitely plan to cover the Flora fires. I call them the Flora murders. So we're going to be covering here, once this Delphi case covers up in the near future, the Ellen Greenberg case, the Flora murders, Micah Miller, and Colin Finnerty, amongst a lot of others. Of course, the Idaho 4 and the Rex Heuermann, or the Lisk Long Island serial killer case. And then whatever else we come across. We cover a lot of missing and unsolved mysteries on True Crime in the Morning, so we'll continue on with that. But yeah, definitely the Flora murders. Anthony says only 54% of you think guilty. That's worrisome. Well, actually, it's down to 49%, Anthony. So we'll give you guys 1 more minute on the poll. Once again, the question, what will the verdict be? 49% of you say guilty. 31% of you say not guilty. 20% of you say mistrial. What's up, Tara? Nah, Kathy loves him too much to think she may even be involved on some level. So you're saying 100% in denial. What's up, Spy Guy? Exactly, Anna. If you guys want an example of what Anna's talking about, go look at the David Kallenberger case. It's a case that we've covered and we will cover in the future. The investigation is headed up by Jerry Holman himself. And one of the main witnesses, you guys may not know much about him, but we refer to him as Bomb Threat B. Phillips, who is connected to the Delphi murders. Crazy. Jack says that was huge. The dude was tortured in solitary confinement, meds or not. Yes, and I agree with that. I think there was two separate arguments being made. Is solitary confinement torture? I say 100% yes. Could it cause psychosis? Yes. Will psychosis cause people to say a bunch of crazy shit? Yeah. But usually it doesn't make any sense. And it's not going to be in chronological order. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of solitary confinement. I feel as a civilization we're better than that. Curious Charlie says that would be felony murder. Mandy, Poppy says we are allowed to have our own thoughts. I just draw the line at people saying it's her family that did it. That's just sick in my opinion. Yeah, that's not allowed here. So you come to the right place. And if you have evidence that the family had anything to do with it, that means that it would already be in law enforcement's hands. They would already be taking actions, and then therefore it would be public information at that point. And then we would all be talking about it. So until then, there's really no reason to speak on it. But what about the psychologist? When hit, brother defense said he couldn't state that he wasn't in the psychosis state that day. Fishy. Well, yeah, that goes to him confessing and not being sick. Andy says guilty. All right, let's close the poll down. Okay, what was the mock verdict? 49% said guilty, 30% said not guilty, and 19% said mistrial. That was out of 859 votes. Damn. So yeah, definitely a lot of lurkers and drive-by pollers. What's going on? Kathleen Harris praying for a guilty verdict and that jurors saw through it all. Wendy V praying for guilty. Poppy guilty. Caddy Wampus. Looks like you guys are talking amongst yourselves. Karen, welcome in. Sarah Tequila. I hope the jury get it right. I respect they will, hopefully. Guilty or not guilty, hope they get it right. Can respect that. I see Angela Ganote is there too today from Fox 59. I got a new phone, so I have to get notifications all over again from the local news. Yeah, she was hanging out with the murder sheet. We watched that earlier. I'm not seeing a red line, Mandy. Saluthan Mama. Mistrial and hung jury are two separate things. Are they? Thought a hung jury and a mistrial are the same. But I could be wrong. And I probably am. Karma is a B. Just let him walk free. Everyone else is already walking around free. Pessimistic. Yeah, it is a crazy movie, Loxy. Haldol is very strong. My brother-in-law is on it. And trust me, he won't be confessing to things that aren't true on that stuff. Haldol also helps tons with anxiety, so maybe that helped him be brave. What's up, Kathleen Harris? Kathy reminds me of these women that stick to their man even knowing their guilt. Stand by your man. That old country song. Look at all the ones that seem to be drawn like a magnet to Wade Wilson, handing over money after he murders 2 women. Or all of a sudden people like are attracted to Brian Koberger, who was like, unless he had committed these murders, was the biggest incel probably known to mankind. And now he has Hybristophilia hussies, so to speak. YouTube bad actor says, considering Richard Allen cheats on his wife, is a chain-smoking alcoholic with a dependent personality disorder. Seems like not such a giant loss. Sounds like the profile of the bridge guy. Apparently 30% of those watching, Mandy, think that they got it wrong. Or they didn't get it right, at least. However, it turns out this case is unique in so many ways. I will never completely go away. That's why it's important to remember the girls in a positive ways through their foundation, etc. I agree with that, Anna. How can a murder of 2 innocent children end up like this? I watched this from the beginning, the day they were murdered. This is about Abby and Libby. Rest in peace, Abby and Libby. Thank you, Lori. What's going on, Sybil? Cocktail dress. You say he stays? So if it's a mistrial or anything like that, he's going to stay in prison. K9 Lovin'. They will go back to jail. Okay. So we're way behind on the chat. I do apologize. A nice Chianti. What's up, sees through? All right, guys, we're going to get out of here in just a few. Just going to catch up on the chat here. Sherry Faye, welcome in. In the event of a mistrial, the defendant is not convicted, but neither is the defendant acquitted. An acquittal results from a not guilty verdict and cannot be appealed by the prosecution. Thank you for that, Spy Guy. Thank you, Vegas. I appreciate the positive feedback, guys. Goes a long way. Re-energizes me for sure. All right, guys. I think that's going to do it. I appreciate everybody who caught the live stream. Like I said, we'll go live. The very moment that we get a verdict in this case, we will go live. So keep an eye out. For those notifications. Lance, welcome in. I think guilty, but I can't see that the 12 will see that. Law enforcement has a lot to answer for if not a guilty finding. Yeah, I mean, it could go either way, right? There's that whole reasonable doubt part. That's the question. Hey, Jody. H. Doc, welcome in. Jessica Robin Riley, welcome in. My opinion, the indecisiveness of the bullet location and the incompetence of the investigation will clear Richard Allen. Welcome in, Annie. Nope. All opinions are welcome here. Hey, what's up, Dan? The Curious Contrarian. No verdict yet. That's a bad sign for me. Yeah, we were talking about that earlier, Dan. I'm thinking maybe a few holdouts. Same-o. Good to see you. How you doing? And if I missed any of you guys, I do apologize. Congrats on the Trump sleuth. By whatever do you mean? But thanks. Old mechanic. We need one more choice. Guilty as sin, but there will be a mistrial. Welcome in. I'm a troll and shock jock by nature. My favorite. Yeah, we love you, Dan. Keep being you. What's up, Jax? So once again, sorry guys if I missed your comment. That is going to be all of our time. If you are part of that replay crew, you know what to do. Leave a comment. We'll get back to you. If you want to reach me directly, you can shoot me an email at any time at sleuthintuition@gmail.com. Big shout out to Tom, Pammy, NBT, Poppy, Jessica, Miss Dog Lover, Cindy Lean. I think I missed you. Thank you so much. And Tom N. Thank you guys. Only takes one person to acquit. All the hard work from the mods, keeping the chat chill. Thank you so much. And all of the support from you members and the donors who keep donating to the Cash App and the Venmo. You guys all make this possible. So I don't know if I will be seeing you a little bit later today. It really depends on if we get a verdict. But they could be here tomorrow or even as far as Monday. But either way, as soon as we know, as soon as I know, I'll be with you guys and you will know. So I will see you again very soon. Thanks again.